The 24th of February 2024 marks the 2-year anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine and the start of the most devastating conflict to grip Europe since the Second World War. More than 100,000 people have been killed, while millions of others have been displaced. Both sides are currently engaged in a largely attritional war, though Russia continues to strike Ukrainian cities and to hamper Black Sea trade, while Ukraine has increased its drone attacks against Russian vessels and infrastructure. Yet Russia's invasion in 2022 effectively marked just the latest escalation in a conflict that began in 2014 with its annexation of Crimea, a peninsula on the northern coast of the Black Sea. So what led to the eventual full-scale invasion? And why is Ukraine so important to Russian President Vladimir Putin? To find out, let's get back to basics. In 2013, mass protests broke out in Ukraine's capital, Kiev. The Maidan Revolution, also known as the Revolution of Dignity, saw hundreds of thousands of people protest against a decision by then-President Viktor Yanukovych to reject an agreement ensuring greater trade ties with the EU in favor of reviving economic engagement with Russia. Following a harsh crackdown by the security forces and a subsequent enlargement of the protest movement, Yanukovych fled Ukraine in February 2014. In March, President Putin ordered his forces to annex Crimea. The Crimea crisis also exacerbated ethnic divisions in eastern Ukraine. In May 2014, Russian-backed separatists in the eastern Ukrainian regions of Donetsk and Luhansk held independence referendums. Armed conflict quickly ignited in these regions between forces funded and backed by Moscow on one side and the Ukrainian military on the other. Putin's focus on Ukraine is also driven by geopolitical security. He points to NATO's post-Cold War expansion into the former Soviet sphere of influence and has often insisted that steps to bring Ukraine into the alliance would be a hostile act towards Russia. Fears of further Maidan revolutions across the post-Soviet space continue to loom large in the Kremlin's foreign and domestic policies. Putin likely also fears that Ukraine may develop into a Western-style democracy capable of undermining both his autocratic regime and his ambitions to rebuild a Moscow-led sphere of influence in Eastern Europe. In December 2021, Russia called on NATO to cease military exercises in Eastern Europe, to commit to no further eastwards expansion, and to pledge that Ukraine would never join the alliance. The US and its NATO allies rejected these demands. By the end of 2021, more than 100,000 Russian troops had been deployed to the Ukrainian border. On the 24th of February 2022, President Putin authorized a special military operation, claiming that its goal was to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine, to ensure Kiev's neutral status, and to end the alleged and unfounded genocide of ethnic Russians in eastern Ukrainian territory. After what was likely planned as a rapid Russian military operation to install a new pro-Kremlin government in Kiev in a matter of weeks, 2 years later, the war rages on with no end in sight.